It's time to pause for peace with me, Pastor Jule. Welcome, I'm glad you're here. This podcast is being released to you on July 14th, 2024. And I have just had an opportunity to be in the sun, by the lake, hearing the waves roll into the shore on the beach line where I grew up. And why is it that water is so restorative? And so many of us seek out water, especially in these very hot days of summer. Believe it or not, as I am recording, it was not the case when I was getting all set up and then I pressed play and it's a rainstorm is suddenly happening. A summer thunderstorm is happening right now. Water is a key part of life, one of the building blocks of life. In fact, for human beings, those of us who grow in utero, we grow in water, in this fertile womb of our mother that is filled with all sorts of juiciness. And we ourselves contain water. As the sun beats down on our skin in the summer and it dries the water out of us, we need to turn to water to be replenished. I hear person after person tell me how being near water is what actually brings them calm, what actually allows them to feel at peace. I know other people who the first thing they do when they get home to wash away all that has taken place with their day in the world, they go to the shower and they douse themselves in cleansing water. As those of us who are a part of the Christian household, water is an initiator. Water is the symbol that welcomes us into the community and shows that we will be about living and uniting our lives with this way of love, that we're going to be held buoyed by God through the watery chaos of life, that we will be those who seek to be a sign for others in the midst of all of the storms of life. We even have an image and see stories in the canonical New Testament of Jesus being in the boat on the water, calling fishermen, calling those who made their living in water to come and follow. Well, there's nothing better than a cool, refreshing glass of water on a very hot summer day, just to totally replenish us, to restore us, to allow our body to have what it needs to get back out there and to be able to have the energy that we need to make it through the day. So on our pause for peace today, I want us to bring in images of water and have a time where if you have some water that you could trickle in the background, maybe you have an indoor fountain, or maybe you can go find a spot somewhere where you could sit near the waves and hear the water. Maybe you need to look for an app that will have some music, some calming waves that you could play just for a few moments and give it a try. See if you have never been somebody who has turned before to water to be refreshment for you, not only refreshment for your body, but restoration for your psyche and your soul, then I'm inviting you in these moments of pause for peace to find some water and to turn to the water and allow it to heal. If you have a grand imagination and can see and open your spiritual eye of perception and visualize yourself in water, you can do that now as well. So if you're gonna go move your body to be near water right now, go for it. Maybe you've been drawing a bath and you actually want to get in. I love to relax no matter what has happened during the day, to just relax in the beautiful, beautiful, calming pool of water of my bathtub. It's so relaxing and refreshing and allows me to just drift right off to sleep. So if you're going to get yourself in or near water right now, if you're going to move your body to be close to the sound of water right now, great, let's go for it. You can pause this podcast for just a moment. Or if you're ready to just jump right in, let's go on and get ourselves comfortable in our spot right now. Take a deep breath. I wonder if you can even tune deeply in to sense what your body's water level might be right now. Are you thirsting? Are you feeling satiated with water? Maybe you can even feel the water within you. So just in a moment of quiet, turn inward and notice what's going on inwardly for you with water. As you take a deep breath, can you notice if you are dehydrated or nearing dehydration right now? If so, you need to go get a glass of water to drink immediately. You can bring it on back and keep on listening to this podcast. And if you can have that sense of where might water be residing within me, see if you can find that wave that pulses in you. Notice how your skin feels. Does it feel dry and cracking, or does it feel supple and moist? Maybe even you've been outside and it feels a little bit sweaty or sticky. Our bodies are these amazing machines. Our bodies need to take in water, but they also need to release water. So you might be noticing as you get yourself quiet that you've been holding your bladder for the last 40 minutes and you really need to get up and go use the restroom. Relieve yourself. Allow the water to go on out and everything that it takes on out, all the toxins it takes with it. Just notice what's going on for you internally in reference to water. And as we move back outside of ourselves, let's have this time today where we tune into our senses in this pause around water. So let's just begin with what we might hear. And if you cannot hear the sound of a babbling brook behind you right now, if you're not running the water for a bathtub or in your sink, which don't be running water, don't be wasting water, because there are people who have to carry water to have the amount they need each day, and it's not always purified. So do all you can to conserve water, not just helpful for your pocketbook, but also helpful for all beings in this world, especially those who are not able to have access to the water that they need. But let's tune into the sound of water right now. And if you don't physically have that sound around you right now, then you could just imagine that you are in your favorite place of the world beside water. And it might just be in your garden where you have a little fountain going. It might be running through a sprinkler with children, or when you were a child. You might have loved to do that. I love to do that on a hot summer day, running through the sprinkler with my sister and our friends. Just the joy and laughter of play. Be listening for the sounds of water. And even noting how tuning into the sounds of water can bring calm. Now, I understand water can be forceful and water can destroy. And so when we have these floods, these flash floods of water that come again and again and again, these violent storms that can take place in the summer, there's a way that the water can be pounding the earth and pounding the roof of our homes, or breaking through windows, or pounding on our windshield in a way that we can barely see to drive, and we're just crouching through little bitty bits of water, hoping and praying we will arrive safely where we are trying to go. So water is forceful, it's a powerful element, and it can be destructive. But if you can be listening for the peaceful sounds of water, and maybe you find great peace in the storm, maybe that thunderstorm of rain actually is something that is totally calming to your system, because perhaps it's the only time you actually hear a natural sound of the elements of the earth, a natural sound that is able to restore your nervous system once again. And I wonder if you can tune into the smell of water. Sometimes water smells dirty, and it's probably not actually the water, it's all that is around or in it. Sometimes water, especially if you're at the ocean, water has that just scent of the salt, of the sand, just a particular ocean smell. When water is mixed with something like lavender, the essential oil of lavender, or just the buds of a lavender plant, water can not only taste amazing and be relaxing, but it can feel relaxing in our body. So maybe associating relaxing smells with water. If you've ever been in a dry, arid place, when finally the rains come, water can also be joyful. So we can hear the sounds of joy and smell water first hitting the earth. So imagine now that you are feeling water touching your skin. Whether you're swimming in a swimming pool, or whether you're like, I'm gonna stick my fingers in this water right now, feeling that cool water. I just wash my hands, so it's all good. In water, maybe even think about washing your hands in water, washing away the pains of the day, the dirt of the day, getting it off your hands. Warm water on our hands can, especially if your hands have been out gardening and can get stiff, warm water can feel so good on our hands. You might imagine just like one little trickle of water down your back. Just like feel it. It might even be a little bead of sweat, which is just transformed water, right? Coming out of your body. A little bead of sweat running down your back. Almost like when a lover might trace that little spine of yours, just like this beautiful, comforting bit of water coming down your back. Just feel water touching you. Maybe even imagine when you were in that beautiful cocoon of your mother's womb and just surrounded by the waters of life, hopefully receiving all that you needed, all the nutrients you needed to grow strong so that you could be born into this world. If you're near water, and we want to use the senses of our eyes, our visual senses, you might want to open your eyes right now. Or if there is an image around you that might remind you of water, if you're watching this video cast, you see this cascade of blues, and hopefully it's reminding you of the way that water can move. But if you're near water and you can see water right now, or literally gaze upon a glass or a pitcher of water, or at least imagine a beautiful sight of water. I love to just sit, I don't know, it's like mesmerizing to like sit at the beach and just have those waves come in and wash up on the shoreline. Just so beautiful, and then recede once again. It just reminds us of the flow that happens within us as well, and how we can just move with the flow. So be visualizing water right now. Water's so amazing. It really, that flow can just remind us, like, you can't control water. Like, you can't trap water. We can dam it up for a while. We certainly can try to chart the course of powerful water. We certainly can try. And yet, we can't catch water, right? If you put out your hands, the water's gonna go right through it. So we can scoop a little bit if we make a little cup with our hands, make a little bowl for the water. I do that often to feed my little dog on a hot walk or whatever. I will offer him a little bit of water. If we're driving in the car and I don't have a bowl, I'll just cup my hands and let him drink out of my hands when I put some water in there. But if I open my hands, the water is going to flow right through, or it's going to flow right down. We can't control water, just like we can't control life, no matter how much we try. So if you'll just be visualizing this powerful force that just flows and does its thing and is essential for all of life. Gaze upon water. Take note what happens within you when you gaze upon water. Or if inwardly, if you're seeing water, what's taking place in you? How is the chaos within you settling down? And last but not least, we have the physical sense of taste. And obviously sound and sight. So let's just take a little taste of water. I've just poured myself it's cool. There was some ice in this water earlier, so I've just poured myself a glass of water. Just taking a taste of it. If you're listening to this podcast, you might have heard that sound of the water coming forth from the pitcher. Perhaps if you were listening super close, you might have heard the water like going down my throat as I gulped it. I'm going to take another sip. I invite you to take a sip of water right now too. Notice how quickly water can trickle down your throat. Notice if the water tastes clean to you. Maybe it has a bit of iron taste to it. Maybe you can literally taste calcium in it. Maybe there's bugs crawling in it. Who knows what might be in there? Maybe it tastes a little dirty to you. You might even sniff water right now as it's close. And if you have some water, let's take a third sip of water. This water moves around so much in my hand. I'm not even like wiggling my hand. If I wiggle my hand, it moves even more. But I notice like everything in my throat begins to calm down. I've been talking a lot today, so there was like this little edge, a little niggle going on in the back of my throat. And so now it's just like kind of calming down. It feels like there's just water coating all the insides. And I can even feel the water going all the way into my stomach. Kind of landing there and finding space there. There's always space for a little bit more water, right? So you might want to take another sip. Taste it a little bit more. Tuning back inside as we have taken in or imagine yourself drinking in this glorious gift of water. Just tune back in to your body, into your heart. Notice how you're doing on that peace kind of meter. Are you feeling a little bit more peaceful now that you have paused for peace? Maybe water is a trigger for you. For some people, water is terrifying. Perhaps we've had an accident in water or we've been harmed in water. So water can be a really terrifying experience. I once had a dog who anytime I went anywhere close to him with water, he would freak out. He had been a rescue dog, so I could only imagine what had happened to him with or in water. So just note that as well, if you have some fear rising when it comes to water or being in or near water. But also notice if water is a calming thing for you, maybe a calming gift you'd never really pay that close of attention to, even if you intuitively know that like when I come home for a stressful day, I go get a bath, or I go to the shower, or I go like drink a glass of water. I know people who drink a glass of water before they even get up out of bed because water just helps them wake up and get going in the morning and be replenished in that way. So just notice how you're feeling internally now that we've spent some time with water and thinking on the gift of water. And if you'll also like take note internally, like your relationship with water and how you're doing right now. Like, are you literally getting enough water to drink each day? And I don't mean like any kind of beverage, like, you know, a splash of water with my scotch. That does not count as an intake of water. Actually, even things like lemonade don't count as an intake of water. Anything with caffeine, of course, does not count as an intake of water, but just a pure glass of water. How are you doing at taking in the amount of water that you need every day? And if you don't know how much water you need every day, you surely can find an app that will tell you, here's how much you should be taking in based on your health conditions, based on your weight, based on your height. Here's how much water you should be taking in each day. Ask your medical doctor otherwise. Note if you're being very utilitarian about water, or if you're being very unconscious about water, ignorant about what it takes just to get one little bit of water out of a faucet at your house. Just if you're being very ignorant of like where your water even comes from, what watershed has your water, where does your water like originate? What watershed are you living on? Like, if you're being very unconscious about that, this podcast is a call back to a better connection with and a righter relationship with water. And so before we depart these moments, before you return to this present moment and open your eyes back up and come back to your present moment awareness, I invite you to say one inner word of gratitude to and for water. So I might literally say, water, thank you for holding me and purifying me and restoring me and replenishing me every day of my life. Each moment from the time literally I was conceived until now, thank you for being this amazing element, this building block of life that I need in order to even be. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And if you're feeling very called to a new connection with water, perhaps you're feeling called to a justice connection with water. You know, there are those who are all about the preservation of water and our waterways. There are those who are literally running camps for young people right now this summer, working on changing our understanding of and relationship to and with water. So if you are somebody feeling called to be a champion for water and clean water for all the world, find a way, reach out, let me know. I have some resources I can share with you, things like Living Waters for the World, and there's also a movement in the PCUSA around eco-justice and working to keep our oceans clean. So there are ways you can find ministries that are about and people that spend their lives thinking about water and ensuring that we have the clean water that we need. Whatever transpires for you in the week ahead, you can open your eyes, by the way, as you're coming back to this present moment. Whatever transpires for you in this week ahead, I hope that you will not neglect this amazing gift of water. And I hope that you will find ways to incorporate conscious intake of water into each and every day, a conscious relationship with water each and every day, and even an appreciation that water can bring us back to peace, can calm us down in a way, for some of us, in a way nothing else can. Thanks for joining me today, and I hope you have a wonderful week. See you next time.